Okay, well then stand over here, because this is my better side.
Today we're going to leave the scrubs behind and head out to explore the #1 wine region in the United States. It's very much a hidden gem in the southeast corner of Washington State.
We found out about Walla Walla embarrassingly not too long ago. I would say about 5-6 years ago. We were up in the Willamette Valley with some friends, wine tasting, and they asked if we had ever been to Walla Walla. They were wine club members up there and made some suggestions for us. So they had some recommendations for staying in Anadebeja. So that's how we discovered Anadebeja. And tasting there, pretty small scale, so hard to get into. So we were able to do that. They had some wineries that they recommended. Roti was one of them. Charles Smith or K. Vintners, same name, was another one. I think it's a really special little gem because it's a little bit out of the way, so it's not overly visited. It's not overly run, say like Napa Valley is, but their wines are world-class, spectacular. They're really well known for their cabs. They're making some beautiful Syrahs. It's like this breadbasket of the Pacific Northwest. So their farmers market is gorgeous. If you go during the summertime, you pick up a little cheese, charcuterie, fresh fruit, take it back to where you're staying, bottle of wine, you're set. So my favorite place to stay is in Anadebeja. It has everything. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a very small venue. The breakfasts are some of the best breakfasts I've ever had. You can stay on property for a beautiful tasting menu at night. My favorite is the Locust Suite. It's very private. You've got your own little private balcony. Just very peaceful. I really like the Finch for its central locale, right in the middle, walking to dinners, tasting rooms that are downtown Walla Walla. It's a cute little vintage place, and the location is just spectacular. And price point on the Finch is really quite an unbelievable little gem. I already said gem, so scratch that. Oh man, that's one of my favorite things about Walla Walla, because the restaurant scene is really spot on. It's a relatively small town, but they have some of the best restaurants. So if you're staying in Anadebeja, the tasting menu there is by far, heads and tails, an amazing experience. The food is spectacular. The setting is gorgeous. Outside of that, I love Pasta Tempo for fresh pasta, homemade pasta, seasonal veggies, heirloom tomato salads. Their pizzas are amazing as well, wood-fired pizzas. I love Saffron. Another little kind of just not on the main street, but very walkable on Colville Street is Colville Street Patisserie, and amazing coffee, and their pastry window is gorgeous. So you can't go wrong. Anything in there just for a little, coffee and donut essentially. Yeah, I love AK Mercado. They're known for their smoked meats. So their Eggs Benedict in the morning is fantastic with some smoked pork. My favorite is right downtown. Charles Smith has a tasting venue, a tasting room right downtown. And within the Charles Smith label, he has a handful of different labels. And my favorite is K. Vintners. They're really well known for their Syrah, and I love Syrah, so they do a top-notch job on that. Really easy to get to. You can have a nice leisurely brunch, lunch, and then put that on your agenda for the afternoon for wine tasting. It helps to have a reservation, I think, at any of these downtown tasting venues, but that should be on the list. I think that Walla Walla destination is so much fun for a pilot because it is harder to get to for most people. So you're going to have this really intimate experience with wonderful food and wine. It's just a little spectacular confluence of those decadent experiences.
We'll be departing Medford, Oregon on runway 32 and we'll fly direct to Walla Walla, Washington. It's 298 nautical miles and we'll be flying at 11,500 feet. It's an hour 53 minutes in the Bonanza, but that's without winds. It's an incredibly beautiful flight. Soon after departing Medford, we climb straight out towards Crater Lake National Park, which is 46 nautical miles to the northeast of Medford. We fly directly over Crater Lake at 11,500 feet, then pass over Mount Thielsen, which is about 9,200 feet. Heading northeast, we'll pass over Bend, Oregon, then cross multiple canyons, old growth forest, cross the high desert of eastern Oregon, and then head into southeastern Washington. Walla Walla Regional Airport lies approximately 3 miles northwest of town. It's located in a relatively flat valley with some rolling hills to the north and east of the airport. This makes for a very easy, nice approach into the airport. It's typically a little bit windy with the winds almost always coming out of the south, which requires a landing on runway 20. There's also a flight school there, and often a few trainers will be in the pattern. It is a towered airport, so this makes it very helpful with the amount of traffic that is typically there. We'll be approaching from the southwest, so that will make for a right downwind approach to 20. The tower is extremely friendly. Soon after landing, we depart the runway to the east. The FBO lies just north of the tower. There's a single FBO on the field, and there is a self-serve avgas pump adjacent to the FBO to the south. Despite its small size, it's one of the best and most friendly FBOs you'll ever encounter. I typically pull up to the pump, fill up, and then they've always been kind enough to park my plane for me. There is no full fuel service except for Jet A. They will arrange for a rental car if you ask, and Uber and taxis are also available. For the third year in a row, Walla Walla has been chosen America's best wine region in the US Today Reader's Choice Awards, following a month-long vote of the public. A finalist in the competition each of the last 5 years, and now a three-peat winner in the category, chosen by a panel of experts from among 250 wine regions in the US. In addition to the Walla Walla Valley's first place win in Best Wine Region category, Long Shadows Winery, after taking third and fourth in the preceding 2 years, secured the top spot on the podium for the best wine tasting room in the 2022 category. Although wine is certainly the main selling point for Walla Walla, the small town in southeastern Washington is also known for its charming and historic downtown and its close-knit community. Known for a creative culinary scene and abundance of arts, culture, and recreation, Walla Walla stands out as a must-visit destination for any pilot getaway. Walla Walla is located in the Walla Walla Valley with the rolling Palouse Hills and Blue Mountains to the east of town. There are various creeks meander through town before combining to become the Walla Walla River, which drains into the Columbia River about 30 miles west of town. The city lies in the rain shadow of the Cascade Mountains, so annual precipitation is fairly low. Walla Walla has a hot summer Mediterranean climate and is one of the northernmost locations in North America to qualify as having such a climate. In contrast to most other locations having this climate type in North America, Walla Walla can experience actually fairly cold winter conditions, though they are still relatively mild for its latitude and inland location. Start planning your visit to America's best wine region by making reservations early for lodging and dining. In the 2022 Sunset Travel Awards, Walla Walla was hailed as the West's standout wine and dine region. In addition, 3 other local businesses were also recognized in the awards. The Finch Hotel and the Inn in the Beja were both honored in the Wine Country Escape section. And Le Col number 41 was featured as one of the editor's picks for top wine tasting. Walla Walla is also home to both the Wine Country Culinary Institute and the Institute of Enology and Viticulture. The next generation of talent is being recruited and groomed to build on the solid foundation that has already been set. Walla Walla, population 29,000, is set among the farms of southeastern Washington. In the 1970s, its downtown, however, began a downward slide. 3 of the 4 department stores fled town, and a major landmark, the Marcus Whitman Hotel, a 12-story luxury building built in 1927, went condo. Thanks to a 10-year revitalizing program, Walla Walla's historic downtown now thrives and has retained some critical assets. Whitman College, established in 1882, is found on the east edge of downtown. The wine industry has exploded from a few vines in 1977 to over 120 wineries today because of a nucleus of people who cared. Residents of Walla Walla say they live in a town so nice they had to name it twice. The Native American name, however, Walla Walla, means place of many waters. Walla Walla's many waters shimmer as they flow past golden hillsides and green vineyards on their way to the mighty Columbia River. Its refurbished, walkable downtown, like its winemakers, combines the best of the old and the new. More importantly, for the wine lover, Walla Walla is simply the next big wine country. No other American region has more exciting Bordeaux-style reds and absolutely stunning Syrahs. Together with luxurious inns and fresh new restaurants, they create the recipe for a perfect weekend pilot getaway. Walla Walla is charming, old-fashioned, and chic all at the same time. Sunset Magazine chose it as the best main street in the West. Shady trees, beautifully lit at night, benches, brick-edged sidewalks, and outdoor art complement the 1890s to 1920s Beaux Arts buildings. Walla Walla is the largest city and county seat. The population of the city and its 2 suburbs, the town of College Place and Walla Walla East, is about 45,000 people. It is located in the southeastern region of Washington, approximately 4-hour drive from Portland, Oregon, and a 4.5-hour drive southeast of Seattle. It is located only 6 miles north of the Oregon border. Walla Walla's history began in 1806 when the Lewis and Clark expedition encountered the Walla indigenous people near the mouth of Walla Walla River. Other inhabitants of the valley included the Cayuse, Umatilla, and Nez Perce indigenous peoples. In 1888, Fort Walla Walla, originally Fort Nez Perce, a fur trading outpost for the Hudson's Bay Company, was established and operated as an important stopping point in Oregon country. Abandoned in 1866, it is now underwater behind the McNary Dam. In October 1836, Calvinist missionaries and physician Marcus and Narcissa Whitman established the Whitman Mission. Deep distrust of the settlers developed between the Cayuse and the settlers as the Whitmans struggled to convert the natives. Their focus gradually shifted to whites passing through along the Oregon Trail. In 1847, following a deadly measles outbreak and reports of the Whitmans poisoning the Cayuse, the Whitmans were warned to leave the area because of the Cayuse custom of killing medicine men whose patients died. They refused to leave and were killed by the Cayuse along with 12 other people. The site was later designated as Whitman National Monument, a National Historic Site. In 1855, the Walla Walla Treaty Council was held between the Washington Territorial Assembly and tribal leaders of the surrounding area. Despite the indigenous people citing Tamanwit natural law, the following year the natives agreed to surrender millions of acres of land for a native reservation and $150,000. The Umatilla Indian Reservation's boundaries eventually shrunk to less than 200,000 acres. The Walla Walla Treaty remained unratified for 4 years, during which time the conflict between the natives and settlers was increasing due to frontiersmen encroaching on the promised reservation, and the Walla Walla and Umatilla people's refusal to relocate to the Umatilla Indian Reservation. The Department of the Pacific's General John Ellis Wool, who was sympathetic to the natives, placed a ban on immigration to the area due to the constant warring of the natives. In 1858, however, the department was split, leaving Washington Territory under the command of General William S. Harney, who lifted the ban on October 31st, 1858. This resulted in thousands of pioneers swarming the area, creating a burgeoning farming and mining community. On March 15th, 1859, Walla Walla County held its first county commission and election in the community's first church, St. Patrick's Church. Following the ratification of Walla Walla Treaty, the commission voted to name the settlement Walla Walla. On November 17, 1859, and the military carried out the forced displacement of the remaining natives under the threat of hanging. Walla Walla was incorporated on January 11, 1862. The first election was held on April 1862, and Judge Elias Bean Whitman, Marcus Whitman's cousin, was elected as the city's first mayor. The population exploded over the following decade to over 300% its size, making it the largest city in the territory, slating it to be the capital until cities surpassed it again after it was bypassed by the transcontinental rail lines in the 1880s. During the gold rush, large populations of Chinese settlers arrived in the city from Portland, Oregon, creating a neighborhood referred to as Chinatown. The Chinese settlers mainly worked in commerce and mining. After a fire in town destroyed most of the neighborhood, the immigrants left to find work, including Eng Ah King, who was informally known as the mayor of Chinatown for revitalizing Seattle's Chinatown. In 1886, while Washington was lobbying for statehood, local businessman Levi Ankeny donated 160 acres of land to the city to serve as the site of a new prison. Legislators approved the site, and in 1887, the state began transferring prisoners to the Washington Territorial Prison from Satco Prison, a privately owned facility that was shut down in 1888 because of its poor living conditions. When Washington became a state in 1889, the facility officially became the Washington State Penitentiary, but inmates nicknamed it the Hill, the Joint, the Walls, and the Pen. As the gold rush died out, the city developed into an agricultural center referred to as the Cradle of Pacific Northwest, a popular source for onions, apples, peas, and wine grapes. Italian settlers from Lonate, Pozzolo, and Calabria regions from Italy formed the core of the gardening industry and settled in neighborhoods known as Blaylock and the South Ninth. One of the main contributions of the Italians to Walla Walla commerce was their vineyards, and soon after wine tasting rooms, the first two opening in the 1880s by Frank Orselli and Pasquale Saturno. The Italian population was also responsible for growing Washington State's official vegetable, the Walla Walla sweet onion. It was the technique, however, of dry land farming that made Walla Walla the region's breadbasket, known for its wheat exports. German immigrants also grew hops. The city was home to several breweries. By the 1890s, wine, beer, liquor, and tobacco taxes accounted for 80% of the city's revenue. But the alcohol industries died out with Prohibition in the United States. As the city became dependent on its wheat production, merchants in town financed the railroad to Wallula, Washington, to connect Walla Walla to the Columbia River, completed in 1875. In 1927, the Real Estate Improvement Company of Seattle invested $300,000 to the construction of the Marcus Whitman Hotel. The 174-room hotel was designed by Sherwood D. Ford and opened in 1928. It fell into disrepair in the 60s, and it wasn't until 1998 that it was restored and reopened in 2001. In 2001, Walla Walla was given the Great American Main Street Award winner for the preservation of its once dilapidated Main Street, and in July 2011, USA Today selected Walla Walla as the friendliest small city in the United States. In 2012 and 2013, Walla Walla was a runner-up for the best food category for the best of the road. Downtown Walla Walla was awarded Great Places in America, Great Neighborhood designation in 2012 by American Planning Association, the same year as part of Brad McNally annual Best of the Road contest. Though wheat is still a big crop, vineyards and wineries have become economically more important over the last decades, as there are over 120 wineries in the greater Walla Walla area. Following the wine boom, the town has developed several fine dining establishments and luxury hotels. The Walla Walla sweet onion is another crop with a rich tradition. Over a century ago, on the island of Corsica, off the west coast of Italy, a French soldier named Peter Pieri found an Italian sweet onion seed and brought it to the Walla Walla Valley. Impressed by the new onion's winter hardiness, Pieri and the Italian immigrant farmers who comprised much of Walla Walla's gardening industry harvested the seed. The sweet onion evolved over several generations by process of selecting onions from each year's crop, targeting sweetness, size, and round shape. The Walla Walla sweet onion is designated under federal law as a protected agricultural crop. In 2007, the Walla Walla sweet onion became Washington's official state vegetable. There is also a Walla Walla Sweet Onion Festival held annually in July. Walla Walla sweet onions have low sulfur content, about half of the ordinary yellow onion, and are 90% water. Besides being named Best Wine Region in US Today's Reader's Choice Awards in both 2020 and 2021 and 2022, several local wineries have received top scores from wine publications such as Wine Spectator, The Wine Advocate, and Wine and Spirits. Although most of the early recognition went to the wines made from Merlot and Cabernet, Syrah is fast becoming the big star varietal in this appellation. The 120 wineries in the Walla Walla area collectively generate over $100 million for the valley annually. Walla Walla Community College offers an associate degree in winemaking and grape growing through its Center for Enology and Viticulture, which operates its own commercial winery and college cellars. One challenge to growing grapes in Walla Walla Valley is the risk of killing freeze during the winter. On average, these happen once every 6 to 7 years. The penultimate occurrence in 2004 destroyed about 75% of the wine grape crop in the valley. In November 2010, the valley was again hit with a killing frost, leading to a 28% decline in Cabernet Sauvignon production and a 20% decline in red grape production. Walla Walla Regional Airport is a Class Delta towered airport. It is a public airport in Walla Walla County, Washington. It is set on a relatively flat area with minor rolling hills to the north and east. It lies 3 miles northeast of central Walla Walla and is owned and operated by the Port of Walla Walla. The airport was the location of the Army Air Force's base during World War II. The War Department announced it would be spending about $7.5 million to construct an Army Air Corps training airfield adjacent to the existing airfield at Walla Walla. With the old 200-acre municipal airport as a nucleus, it commenced development of the Walla Walla Army Air Base, which ultimately comprised over 2,000 acres of land. Over 300 buildings were constructed and equipped to house, feed, and train approximately 6,000 personnel. Many of the wartime bomber hangars are still in use as of 2023. The 91st Bomb Group was the first Army Air Forces outfit to utilize the Walla Walla base. The 91st had initially trained in Florida and upon arrival trained in B-17 Flying Fortress 4-engine bombers. The 91st went on to distinguish itself in combat over Europe. Several of these crews made outstanding records during their tour of duty and were well publicized upon the return to the United States, with names such as Delta Rebel, Jack the Ripper, and Memphis Belle, the first B-17 to complete 25 missions in Europe. Late in 1943, the airfield lay idle when the 2nd Air Force withdrew its B-17 training operation. In April 1944, the 4th Air Force took charge and established a training base for B-24 Liberator bomber crews. During the war years, it is estimated that more than 8,000 officers and men were trained at this base, producing 594 heavy bomber crews who compiled more than 114,000 hours in the air while in training. After the war in 1947, the newly formed U.S. Air Force declared the airfield as surplus, and the city and county took over operations on December 1st. In 1989, the Port of Walla Walla took over ownership and operational responsibility of the airport from the city and county of Walla Walla. The airport is mostly used for general aviation, but is also served by Alaska Airlines. Since 1997, the former office and supply buildings surrounding the airport proper have been converted for use by industrial manufacturing business, including several wineries that source their fruit locally. Walla Walla Regional Airport covers an area of 2,300 acres, which includes one concrete grooved runway, 220, measures 6,500 feet by 150 feet. There is a VOR on the field that operates on 116.4 megahertz. The airport has an average of 77 aircraft operations per day, 90% of which are general aviation, 4% air taxi, 3% scheduled commercial, and less than 1% military. There are approximately 88 aircraft based at this airport and has 19 scheduled commercial round-trip flights to Seattle each week. Walla Walla University and Skyrunners Corporation operate flight schools on the field from primary training through multi-engine commercial and other training certificates. The one FBO on the field is Gorge Aviation Services and has landing facility services including line services, de-icing fluid, GPU, ground handling, heated hangar, oxygen parking, tie downs, lounge, refreshments and snack vending, restrooms, shower, weather briefing, flight planning, kiosk, Wi-Fi, transportation, and courtesy transportation. Where to stay in Walla Walla? Our favorite place to stay in Walla Walla is the Inn de Beja. Its founders, Ken and Ginger Harrison, came to Walla Walla Valley in the late 1990s in search of land suitable for planting world-class Cabernet Sauvignon. It was while searching for an ideal vineyard location that the couple discovered an extraordinary historic farmstead that captured their hearts and sparked their imagination. The idea for a Beja began to take hold. Not only was the property suited for grape growing and winemaking, but by restoring the farmstead's existing buildings, the Harrisons saw the opportunity to preserve the property's rich heritage while creating a one-of-a-kind Walla Walla wine country destination. Today, a Beja is the realization of the Harrisons' vision. The Inn de Beja delivers impeccable hospitality, renowned gourmet breakfast, and refurbished farm cottages, inviting visitors to slow down and unwind. Gardens, vineyards, and the vistas of Walla Walla Valley encourage guests to explore while marveling in the property's history and savoring the modern comforts of a wine country retreat. Spanish for bee, the name Beja was chosen to honor a deep-rooted respect for the environment. Both the winery and the Inn de Beja operate on the belief that each of us can make a difference in the world every day, regardless of how small the gesture or detail. The difference made is worthwhile. It is with this same philosophy that Beja crafts its wines and welcomes guests. Some of our favorite rooms include the bunkhouse, which is a charming 432 square foot cottage that once housed the farm's hired hands. It is now a romantic wine country retreat. The cottage finishes evoke the 1940s with robin's egg blue cabinets in the kitchen and tiled floors throughout. It accommodates 2 guests, features 1 queen-size bed in a private bedroom. It also has a kitchen with small electric stove and refrigerator. The tiled bathroom has a unique antique claw-foot tub, heated floors, and walk-in shower. A private patio off the bedroom with views of the vineyard and a semi-private front porch. Summer kitchen, spectacular cottage. It invites you to travel back in time to when preserving summer's bounty was a seasonal endeavor. You can celebrate the lazy days of summer year-round in this 936 square foot 2-story cottage that features a romantic private veranda overlooking Beja's estate Syrah vineyard. It accommodates 2 guests. Our absolute favorite, however, is the Locust Suite. It is named for the fragrant trees outside the front door. The Locust Suite is located in the east end of the carriage house. The main living area of this 840 square foot retreat retains its original paneling and is appointed with leather furnishings, slate floors, and oriental rugs and mahogany finishes. It accommodates 2 guests. It features 1 king-size bed in the bedroom, a corner kitchen with 2 burner gas cooktop, full refrigerator, dishwasher, and microwave convection oven. It has an oversized tile shower, separate living room with a gas fireplace and wet bar. It has a semi-private patio overlooking Titus Creek and the locust trees. For a stay in town, the Finch is our favorite place to stay. It's within walking distance of all major attractions, including restaurants, shopping, tasting rooms, and grocery stores. There's no need for a car or Uber driver. The Finch Hotel has 80 rooms on the Sunrise side of Main Street in downtown and is a hub for your quintessential Walla Walla experience. The modern, one-of-a-kind Walla Walla guest rooms are designed with everything you need and nothing you don't. More than anything, the Finch serves as a community-powered inspiration for exploration. The sights, sounds, and people of Walla Walla are part of every room and space, and every stay is built on the experience available just outside its doors. Whether you're cycling from winery to winery, strolling and tasting your way across downtown, or stretching your brain with a visit to Whitman College, the Finch Hotel encourages a spirit of discovery that defines the Walla Walla visit. The staff are experienced and are passionate about making your stay the best it can be. Our other choice for places to stay is the Heritage Resort. Beautifully nestled on 300 acres in the rolling fields of wheat and vineyards of Washington wine country, Heritage is only a few-minute drive from downtown Walla Walla and the airport. Each suite opens to a patio or deck with expansive views of the Blue Mountains, rolling farmland, and a pristine man-made lake. This intimate property is tucked within the vineyards and is designed to provide guests with an unparalleled Washington wine country experience with exceptional lodging and cuisine, as well as exclusive access to unique events and services. Heritage Resort is home to 20 luxury suites as well as a restaurant, all aimed at giving a first-rate experience when visiting. The restaurant at Heritage is run by Chef Arturo Tello. He leads the charge with a menu that utilizes the concept of creating classic dishes with modern techniques. He is a Walla Walla native and developed a passion for food from a young age, first inspired by his mother's cooking and the flavors that encompass his Latin ancestry. As a graduate of Wine Country Culinary Institute and a part of the culinary industry in the Valley for 10 years. Chef Arturo is excited to incorporate open fire cooking techniques with locally sourced ingredients from around the Valley to create an impressive dining experience as good as any restaurant in town. The dishes are always spot on and feature a hearty wine selection with a fantastic taste of Washington's wine country. Resort amenities include a full-service restaurant, outdoor saltwater swimming pool, wine tasting, in-room massage, lawn games including croquet and cornhole, cruiser bikes, complimentary breakfast, indoor and outdoor dining, paddleboarding on Lake Sienna, and L-Octane bath products. The wine buzz has inspired several great chefs to relocate here, yet the former farm town hasn't forgotten its roots. One of our absolute favorites is the Kitchen at Beja, a relatively new addition to the dining scene and has already made a huge splash in the last couple of years. Jack Crenshaw is the executive chef. Dan Wampfler and Mary Alvarez Wampfler are the winemakers. A typical 7-course menu is about $165 per person, and the wine pairing are only an additional $55 per person. A typical menu starts with an amuse-bouche, a foie gras bonbon, black pepper paired with a beekeeper's white wine. First courses include Copper River King Salmon, Arctic Char Roe, Cucumber Yogurt Radish, paired with a 2016 Chardonnay. This is followed by a very succulent sea bass, which just flakes off the fork, topped with Siberian sturgeon caviar and caramelized leeks. Black summer truffles, shiitake mushrooms, and agnolotti, and shaved truffles, followed with a smoked pork cheeks, pistachio pine nut, quinoa, and maple soy glaze. This is all finished with the final course of rack of lamb with wild mushroom ragu and potato croquette. Dessert includes a strawberry vanilla pastry cream with citrus. Another absolute must-visit restaurant is Passatempo Taverna for an elevated yet laid-back dining experience that centers around beautiful and rustic Italian cuisine, historical cocktails, and a true sense of place. Other wine regions may sport Michelin-starred restaurants, but Walla Walla puts on a global banquet at small-town prices. Il Nido's Mike Easton helped open Passatempo in downtown Walla Walla, though he's no longer part of it, and the handmade pastas, all under $25, are as notable as the fact that you can get in without a reservation on a weeknight. At Passatempo, they're to die for handmade cacio e pepe pasta and seasonally inspired seconde dishes that will knock your socks off. The menu is ideal for sharing. We order several appetizers and main courses, then share. The food is so good, you really don't want to be just limited to one dish. Before it was the Passatempo, it was the Pastime Cafe. Nearly a century old, the Pastime Cafe was founded as a cigar shop in 1920. The business was purchased by Louis Fazzari and Sam Mele in 1925, and food was introduced in 1932. The Pastime survived and even flourished through the Great Depression and both World Wars, expanding to include a full kitchen and private Venetian room in 1949. Decade after decade, family, friendship, and community has been a common theme. Today, Passatempo Taverna honors this legacy with their deep connections to local purveyors and farmers. Passatempo Taverna is more than a charming rustic restaurant tucked into a historic corner of downtown Walla Walla. They are actively involved in giving back to the local community. Never has this been more on display than during the onset of the pandemic when they launched their Pay It Forward lasagna campaign. Patrons could purchase an absolutely delicious lasagna to enjoy at home, and proceeds would then be used to fund free meals to anyone working for a local hospitality business or on the front lines in healthcare or medical services. So when you're flying to Walla Walla, make plans to dine at Passatempo Taverna for a taste of history, a sense of community, and a charming ambiance. Enjoy a handmade pasta dish or two, whimsical cocktail creations, and craftsmanship are on display with signature menus, staple cocktail, as well as a rotating featured beverages. There's also an extensive, impressive wine list with standout featured wines from the walls. Passatempo Taverna accepts reservations up to 3 months in advance, so plan well ahead of your stay in Walla Walla and lock in your dinner plans now. Getaways on Alder, launched in 2019 by an Alabama couple on a quiet downtown block, but near the town's reigning fine dining champ, Passatempo Taverna. The small space dishes big flavors, like very crispy fried chicken bathed in backyard sauce, flavored with the kind of herbs you might find in a personal garden. Muddled fresh peaches in a bourbon cocktail are also a sweet southern reprieve from all the wine, but the glassed-off wine cellar has its share of local big wine names. Saffron Mediterranean Kitchen is also at the top of our dining list. At Saffron, James Beard nominated chef owner Chris Ainsworth, formerly of the Fish Club in Seattle, presides over a nightly full house. The open kitchen, exposed brick walls, and tables made from champagne riddling racks provide a warm, friendly atmosphere. Unusual appetizers include wood-grilled octopus with potatoes, cilantro, sweet onions, and preserved lemon, as well as lamb tartare, wood-grilled quail, or beef cheeks. Flatbreads and pastas are completely house-made. Bold entries include king salmon, duck, leg of lamb, and wood-grilled adobo marinated Oregon hanger steak with fire-roasted fingerling potatoes and almond and tannery salsa. Open since 2007, it's become a sort of elder statesman in the Walla Walla dining scene. Its reliable reputation, very well earned. Worth the long wait lines, the most popular breakfast site in Walla Walla remains bacon and eggs. The menu spends much of its time, however, in Mexico with migas, huevos con chorizo, chilaquiles, but between a tofu stirred fried top with kimchi and stuffed brioche French toast, the plain old bacon and eggs entree is almost lost. Lunch includes a modest spread of sandwiches and salads and a wall of hot sauces. Our recommendation, however, is to avoid the lines of bacon and eggs and head down the street to AK's Mercado. One of the best meals in Walla Walla used to come out of a gas station. The food counter at Andrea's Kitchen dished street food that deserved a finer table than the ones near the Cenex gas pumps. But the ramshackle location was part of the charm. And Andre Bop moved to a more conventional space downtown in early 2021, serving tacos and smoked meats and hosting a market of local vendors up front. The playful, colorful interior matches the menu of fruity and boozy drinks from Jim Germain. Our very first stop after landing in Walla Walla is always to head over to the Brasserie 4. Our favorites there include a bouillabaisse and the campagna pâté. Chef owner Hannah McDonald's Brasserie 4 is French, but not overly formal. She offers mostly French wines, but it's her cooking that's garnering attention. You'll find escargot, oysters, and other fine French foods, but also pizzas and a fine local ham sandwich with Gruyere. What to do in Walla Walla? Wine tasting is the main attraction in Walla Walla, and what better way to explore the region than in a Tesla? Tesla Winery Tours is where the past and the future come together for a unique, eco-friendly wine tour of Walla Walla, Washington. They have experienced local insider knowledge of the beautiful Walla Walla Valley, wine country combined with riding in either a Tesla Model X or S, promising a fun, exciting, and memorable day of touring and wine tasting. They offer tours of the Walla Walla Valley to premier wineries, breweries, and cideries. They also specialize in nature, geology, and history tours as well. Private transportation services are also available with advanced reservations. Another absolute must-do while visiting Walla Walla is to visit the farmers market in downtown Walla Walla. Buying local foods and goods is important for many reasons. Not only is it healthier to consume products that are homegrown and free of harmful chemicals, but it is also beneficial to the economy by supporting farmers and other independent businesses within the community. If you're vacationing Walla Walla and wondering where to purchase the finest fruits and veggies in town, along with other tasty treats and handcrafted gifts, you have to visit the Walla Walla Farmers Market. Moving on to wineries, our favorite downtown tasting room is the winery at Charles Smith. Charles Smith is the visionary winemaker behind iconic brands like K Vintners and Substance. Charles has received over 250 scores of 95 points and above, and nearly 1,300 scores of 90 points and above from leading wine publications. Today, House Smith is the largest independent and winemaker-owned winery in Washington State, with wines sold in all 50 states and 23 countries worldwide. And it all started a little over 20 years ago with 330 cases of 1999 Case Raw sold out of the back of Charles' 1987 Astrovan. Charles Smith's unlikely rise to rockstar winemaker status is the stuff indie cult classic films were made of. Prior to becoming a world-class winemaker, Charles spent a decade touring Europe as a rock band manager in Denmark before returning to the United States to immerse himself in the emerging music scene in Seattle. He found a way to explore his burgeoning interest in wine by opening a wine shop on Bainbridge Island, but Charles felt compelled to create his own wines, not just to sell them. A chance road trip to Walla Walla, Washington in 1999 gave Charles that opportunity. He watched, listened, absorbed. Most importantly, he created. With almost nothing in his pockets, Charles Smith found a way to produce his very first vintage, the aforementioned 330 cases of 1999 Case Raw. He has earned recognition as Wine and Spirits Magazine Winer of the Year in 2008, Food and Wine Winemaker of the Year 2009, Wine Enthusiast Winemaker of the Year 2014, and placed 2nd and 13th on the Wine Spectator Top 100 list in 2017. In 2006, Charles created the cult favorite Royal City Syrah, and that inaugural vintage made Charles Smith one of only 4 Washington winemakers to earn a 100-point score. He makes wine that is both intriguing from first glance at the label to the very last sip from the bottle. One of Walla Walla's founding wineries, Le Col No. 41, brought home an international trophy from the Global Fine Wine Challenge in Sydney, Australia. Trophy for Best New World Bordeaux Blend awarded to Winery's 2019 Pedigree Wine. This highly regarded annual competition included 600 of the top world's wines and is by invitation only. From the arts, history, and culture to the dining, agricultural, and scenery, and to, of course, the wine, there are a lot of pieces to the puzzle that has made the Walla Walla Valley America's best wine region. This is why at least twice a year we fly and enjoy the amazing food, wines, and hotels in that area. Now is the time to see this new wine country for yourself. With over 120 wineries in the Walla Walla Valley, your biggest worry for your flight home might be your weight and balance calculations. All right, well, thank you for watching. If you found this interesting at all, please go ahead and press the like button. And certainly, if you want to see more videos, which you plan on bringing basically 2 a month, different places that pilots can visit, explore, and experience the wonders and the beauty of what we have to offer in the United States. Please click subscribe. Thank you.